Assistant Administrator Eileen Coleman.
Present.
Okay, so I think that's... All right. Next is the approval of minutes for May 25th. We have draft minutes to approve. Any discussion needed?
Nope.
Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay.
I'm gonna abstain.
Opposed?
I'm gonna abstain.
One abstain.
Yeah, so there.
Okay, 4-0-1. The minutes of May 25th are approved.
Just FYI, you can vote on minutes even if you weren't at the meeting,
Oh, okay.
just for future reference.
All right.
And Larry, just skip over number 2, public comments.
Skip over, oh, I did, yes. Okay, public comments. Is there anyone online? I noticed that there was no one here, so I assumed there was not going to be any. And then, is there anyone online or present? And the answer appears to be no, so the record should show that there was no one here for public comment. All right. Next on the agenda is request for a certificate of compliance, 82 Macon Road, Stacy M. Calola, DEP file number 122-673.
Sorry, what?
The guest of honor chairs are right there beside Eileen, if you want to, or you can stay where you are. It's up to you. Oh, thank you. All right, how are you tonight?
Doing well, thank you.
All right, so for the record, you should identify yourselves and your place where you live.
Sure. So my name is Charlie Creighton. I'm a resident of 82 Macon Road. This is my wife, Stacy.
Yep, my name is Stacy Calola. It's changed to Creighton, but on all the paperwork right now, it's Calola. And I live at 82 Macon Road also.
Nice to see you both.
You too.
Okay, so we have a request for a certificate of compliance. This was a project that had an addition in the back of the house, as well as a deck and some plantings. John or Eileen, would you like to offer comment on the condition of the site?
Well, we've all been out there, some of us a few times now, sorry about that. So just to remind you all, this was an order of conditions for an addition and a deck that was going to be about 42 feet from a regulatory stream. They were required to do some plantings, some native trees and shrubs. Those are in place. They're looking fine. They were asked to remove some dumping of clippings, and they removed all of what they had put in there. But there's a big mound apparently it's historic, and now it's really just turned into compost. So they say they're using that for plantings around their property. In, I guess, recompense for some of the dumping, they also planted a few, I think it was three shrubs in that area. The plan to manage the stormwater by drip edge stone trenches was changed slightly as it was going along, and I approved that the contractor could use a dry well, so he put a dry well in there, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's not a big dry well, but it's not a big foundation. It's not a big addition. So I have no. Sorry, have I been? Yes, I have been sharing. I have no issues with the addition as built, or the deck as built, or the plantings as they are. They're all fine.
Okay, so let's see if there's anybody else on the commission that might have something to say. Kent, anything further in this? Indra? Bill?
I thought everything looked good. I love the looks of the banks of the river, the stream there. Everything looks very natural and clean, and I liked it a lot. And the posts supporting the deck are absolutely minimal, so I think it's a good overall project.
All right, Rob?
Nope.
I too didn't see anything wrong with what you did. It actually looked very good. So there was no issues from my perspective either. All right, so Eileen, anything further on this?
No, just to say that we did tell them earlier today that they can alter that hatch thing that's covering their dry well with whatever means necessary. And also to remind you that you had asked them to not mow a portion of the lawn closest to the riverbank, and they actually haven't been mowing everything outside their, I think it was their, where the erosion controls were.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice.
So everything's all set?
Yep.
All right. Okay, could I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for the project at 82 Macon Road for DEP file number 122-673?
So moved, Rob.
Second?
Second, Kent?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
500, approved unanimously. Is there a bond?
Oh, there was a bond. I think it was 2,500.
Yes, it was.
Yep. And I would recommend, I don't have any issue with you giving it all back.
Do you want the bond, or you want to just?
Use it for the roads and potholes, yeah.
I'm only, okay. Could I have a motion
Town donation.
to have full release of the bond for 82 Macon Road, DEP file number 122-673?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Again, all in favor?
Aye.
500. The bond has been fully released.
All right,
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
very much.
All right.
It's been a pleasure working with you folks.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
They'll go out now while Grandma's still in charge.
Yeah, well, the bond, we can
Yeah.
have a couple,
Live it
have a
up.
couple beers.
Enjoy your new addition.
All right,
Thank you very much.
All right, so, I guess we're okay, we can start the next thing. We have a continued public hearing, which was a notice of intent, at 78 Mountain Road for Kenneth Gillis. It was construct a new residential dwelling on Mountain Road, DEP file number 122-687.
Mr. Chair, could I just make a point? I actually did watch, even though I wasn't at the last meeting, I watched the videos for 5 and 6.
All right,
I
sounds
can
good,
vote.
Ken. You watched the meeting. All right, so Eileen or John, want to give us an update on this one?
Let him introduce himself.
Oh, it's me again.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, please introduce yourselves again.
Good evening, Joe Currier here for 78 Mountain Road, and Ken Gillis, the owner of 78 Mountain Road.
We've been here so many times, I felt like I knew you guys.
And if it was helpful, Leah, the top portion of the lot that's in question got cut off. There's no way she could have did the CAD or whatever, but she wrote the thing, so I kind of highlighted it, and I do got a full plan.
Great.
But it doesn't have the planting on it for you. I gave you the same one last time, but I got one for everybody if they wanted to see the portion in question, if you don't have it already. Kind of highlighted it.
I think we do.
I think some of them had difficulty opening it, so we can pass them on if you have a few.
Nope.
Yep.
I lost it already.
And I'm going to be sharing it
Oh, here
at
it is,
the
yeah.
same time,
Okay.
chatting.
Oh,
I didn't even copy.
I'll take a picture of that one.
Thank you.
You got plan?
Well, I have,
online. I think
I don't know
I
if
got
they
it
need any more. I have it online. And,
Alright.
oh, well,
So it's
Well,
just,
I just highlighted that area in question.
do I have it? I'll just take a paper copy for our
That's the
files.
same thing you have right there,
It's just for the paper
but
files.
it's cut off at the top.
so there's only one
Oh.
plan here, and the rest is the, oh, no, the plan, narrative, okay, it's at the back, got it.
It's the whole package that was just sent.
Right, the new one. Did you want to add something about what you've added for them?
Yes. So that's, see how it got cut off?
See, it was cut off. I don't have the whole
I'm
plan
not sure they're hearing you.
previously. It's cut off like that. Yeah.
So plantings on that?
The plantings are not on this, no.
So where's the thing that was, the original of this that was cut off when it was printed?
Just the top's cut off. She doesn't have the full, she was only sent this one right here. See how it's cut off at the top? This is what Leah was going by.
Remember, they were sort of ignoring the end of the property where there was parking.
So how much is cut off on this, though?
Just, you can see it right there, see the highlighted piece? That's this piece. So you're talking this little corner triangle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Do you have what you need for permanent records?
it's about 1,000 square feet.
Sorry, what?
Do you have what the department needs for permanent record?
I think we're okay with that, because I think it's clear enough from the little triangle there. So Joe was just explaining that the top of the We had asked them to put some more plantings in the way back,
Right.
in the portion of the lot that is sort of, has an industrial use right now, that they're using for parking. I think it's also his property.
Yeah, inside the highlighted area is the part in question. That's gravelled area down below. So what we talked about last time is a planting for that area. So what we're gonna do is put good-sized boulders and border that area down there, loom it, and Leah had come up with more plantings to put down there.
Okay, is this documented anywhere so that?
It should be in her whole narrative that she sent out on Monday.
Okay.
And she did add
Yes.
a lot of plants to the,
And she added more
One last
plants to the top part. We're not seeing the whole, we're still not seeing the whole
we're
property.
missing about 1,000 square feet of the portion in question at the top.
But, I mean, it's catching quite a lot of it. I don't really have an issue. Do you have an issue?
But there will be plants in that area that we can't see, right?
Correct, she's got the net, we're bordering that whole thing with boulders, so nobody can run over it down there, because it's outside of the Eversource district with their poles right there.
Yeah.
It's just outside of it, they gotta turn around that, but it's further enough that we can place the boulders and not be in their way. Loom it and shrub it, and nobody should disturb it.
Are we in a position that a year from now, if you're documenting or at some point completion, according to what we understand today, do we have enough documentation to go out and verify it?
Can you just, like, don't even like redo, don't get your engineer to redo it, but can you just sketch on that where the boulders are gonna go, so I know where the very end of it is? Can you do that for me?
Yep.
Okay. We will be. I'm just gonna have him sketch on where the end of the boulders is with the end of the plantings.
I think you have the
It
same
sh-
concern.
it should be at the end.
that we have.
Yeah, and if we have that, then I'll feel okay with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So
Because this will go into this will become the plan of reference.
Okay, so he is going to submit that
Yep.
when? Next 2 weeks or something, or?
Well, I've just said he can sketch it on, so if he gives me this literal piece of paper, I'll just scan it and I'll make that the copy
Okay.
of reference. And I'll
Alright,
just update it to say
So we'll
annotated.
sketch it on, but we'll get that piece of paper sketched in the next couple of weeks, maybe?
Yeah, right here, right now.
Oh, okay,
And I was saying, I will scan it. We have a plotter. I can do that,
okay,
okay?
all right.
We also took the abrevieties out and swapped them out to the native
Red Sea.
red cedar.
Right,
So we added 8 more red cedar and took out 8 abrevieties.
okay. Okay, are we satisfied with the plantings?
I think we are more comfortable now that it's going back to the end of the property.
Okay, all right, and it's restoring the riverfront that was taken down, essentially.
Yes.
All right, so, do you have any further concerns before we go to the commission?
No, I think they dealt with the concerns that we had with the stormwater, have all been dealt with. They've answered the questions. The actual house itself was never really the issue. I don't have any more issues. John, do you have anything that we have forgotten that we just need to touch on?
No.
No, okay, no.
Okay, all right. I remember that the commission was concerned about revegetation in the back of the lot. That was it.
That's why we suggested to put the boulders there, that way nobody can, you won't be able to drive on, because it's down the lot where the Eversource, they maintain their poles, so they gotta drive the big truck, so they're not gonna be able to drive on top.
Are the boulders
Once-
gonna go across here too?
No, that's actually uphill, so this is the only part that's on the gravel, this is all, an elevated,
And what's here? Is that not where there's
This is all
parking
out.
right now?
no, it's all over here, so the Eversource pole's right about in here. So this is all just a little high, there's no, I don't know where your stream is coming down here.
Well, the stream is over there.
But this
But
is
I'm
the
just
end,
wondering
this
what's
is
in
the end
back.
of the lot right here.
Well, this whole thing is the end of the lot.
Yeah.
So I'm asking what's
No,
on
this,
this side?
this is this is going up outside the area.
But it's still your lot. It's still his lot.
Correct.
So I'm asking,
There's
why aren't the
there's no
boulders going
pavement or
across there?
anything there. This is all vegetated area going up.
Okay. I'm clear on that now, sorry, I wasn't
Yeah, so
getting it, I think I get it.
She says she's got the plantings right here.
Yep.
And she's got the plantings going up in there.
All up
So
in
she did
there.
put the plantings in here, but it's
Okay.
all uphill vegetated. This was the only gravel area in
Okay.
question that we can put boulders. We can't put boulders uphill, and nobody's gonna be able to drive up there.
I got it.
But there's plantings, she's got
Does the text of our materials talk about the boulders being placed at all?
I don't think they do, but we
Yeah.
did,
Yeah, she's got it in there.
oh, sorry, it was in there, sorry, yes.
All right, okay.
We also
All right.
mentioned it in the order.
All right, let's see if the commissioners have, given all this discussion, if they have anything further. Rob, do you have anything further on this one?
No.
All right, and Kent, anything further on this one? Indra? Phil?
I appreciate all the work that you guys did, to meet the questions that we had. We had a lot of them, got off to a bad start with the tree cutting, but the final plan, I think, is acceptable, and I appreciate the hard work that went into it.
We're rookies at this. This is not
Nope.
something.
Learning experience, right?
I apologize, Kent, I just seen the email when you come in here. I was at a playoff game.
I hear ya.
On the field up there, but I seen the email that you couldn't log on or something.
Ah, no problem.
All right, I have no further issue. I think you've satisfied all our requests. It took a while, but
Yeah.
I think we got
We
there.
got rookies, we're new at this.
Can't wait to see the next one.
Don't wanna do it again?
Not rookies anymore.
Okay. Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on for the hearing of 78 Mountain Road? Yes, please come up. So we want to give this person the microphone, please?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Joe.
All right, so before you make your comments, you have to identify who you are and where you live.
My name is Marcia Lancelot. I live at 71A Mountain Road.
71A.
I don't have a concern about the property. Welcome, new neighbor. But my concern is bait boxes, the rodent bait boxes that they use. They're full of poison, and everyone that builds uses them, the contractors. Well, these aren't just killing rats. They're killing the other animals, the wild animals and the raptors and stuff. So I would like to ask if they could use other bait boxes rather than poison.
Can I answer that?
You have an answer for that? Okay, let's hear it.
We do not need to bait this property. You only need to bait a property if you're raising an existing home, dwelling.
Oh,
Board of Health will make you put the bait boxes around, those little black boxes you're talking about.
yeah,
We do not have that requirement on this property because there's nothing to raise. So what they're worried about is when you demo a house and there's rats in the area, they're gonna scatter to the neighbors. So you have the bait boxes that go around your border to
yes.
stop them from going to the neighbors. We don't have that.
Oh, okay, so,
There's
It's
not gonna
not
be any of that there.
all right, okay.
Okay,
That was my only concern. Because the building, Sales Source, who is right across the street,
Yeah, there's Board of Health
Yeah.
regulations.
all right,
Yep.
because they have 20 bait boxes.
Right, that was a very interesting comment, though. I haven't heard 20 people mention that. Thank you.
Where are the bait boxes?
Sales Force, it's right, you could throw a rock from 78 Mountain Road.
Thanks.
And that's where they all,
And-
all the wildlife, where the high tensions are, that's where
Well,
they,
any commercial property has to have pest
but they
control.
don't have to have poison. There's other ways to kill
Yeah, I
a
don't know
rat.
what's in the box, but
Right.
So what should they have, just to be clear, please?
Well, you can electrocute a rat, which is the easiest and quickest way to do it. And that way, the rat's gone. But if a rat is poisoned, it can live for 2 to 10 days. And that makes it easy prey for the other animals.
And either way would satisfy Board of Health if it was required?
I would imagine
Well,
it would be okay.
Board of Health, what Joe was saying is Board of Health won't be requiring any in this case
I
because
get that.
also I've noticed recently that Board of Health is now saying that those boxes are only required in an area with a known rodent issue. So I think they're trying to figure out how else they can maybe
To
tackle this
minimize
problem.
using it.
There are
It's a
new
lot
versions.
around the conservation areas.
There are new versions of the bait boxes that you mentioned, that it's a self-contained box, has a battery in it, and it electrocutes the
Yes,
animal.
yeah.
Which is just as quick as a snap trap.
Right,
a lot
it's
faster than a
quicker,
poison,
yeah.
And it does not propagate to other species.
Right.
So that's places like Boston are beginning to try to require that, but you have to be available, and they have to be competitively priced before people are gonna do it. On my property, I have a chicken coop and I have traps there, but it's a bait box, but in it I just have a snap trap. And the idea there is that the snap trap is not exposed where my dog might stick his nose in it trying to steal the cheese or something.
Right.
But mice can get in there and still get snapped. So, but it's the same box, but inside is a snap trap and no poison. So there are alternatives.
And there's also pending regulation regarding the anticoagulant poisons because of all the hawks and owls in particular being poisoned.
Right. It's mostly the commercial places that do that.
Yeah.
Is that-
What was
Can't
the-
buy it at Home Depot.
What was the address you gave?
71A.
That's
No,
where she lives.
not
No,
yours,
She said
but where the-
Salesforce. I took it.
was
Oh, Salesforce.
Where are they?
Oh, it's on Wall Street, okay.
So are these regulations you're talking about, John, proposed at the state level?
Well, it's proposed legislation, yes. Yeah.
But yes, there are towns that wanted to try, people in towns, individual towns have been trying to make changes, but it's difficult to do when it's actually a state requirement.
Right, right. Okay, very good. Thank
I
you.
thought
very-
I would just mention it. I mean, it's a better alternative,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
for-
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to make a comment about 78 Mountain Road? Okay, the answer appears to be no. So if there's nothing further, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing on DEP file number 122-687.
So moved, Rob?
Second?
Second, Bill.
All those in favor? 500. The hearing is now closed. Okay, I'd like to ask for, Eileen, would you like to review the draft?
I sure will. There's a bit there that's in yellow. That's because I want to just check it right now. When I looked at the numbers of trees on this, it didn't seem to quite match the drawing. So you'll just need to tell me which one is actually correct. This one seemed to say 38 and that one said 42, if I added them up. I may have added them wrong. So I'll just need the right number for this. Notice of intent was filed for construction of a new single-family dwelling within the riverfront area of Littles Brook. The project also included installing 3 infiltration beds, grading and planting of 14 native trees and either 39 or 42 native shrubs within the riverfront area. This is a whole list of various documents that they gave us over the course of several weeks, including an alternatives analysis and stormwater report. This project is exempt from the Mass Stormwater Management Regulations, but they have infiltrated the new rooftop area, new driveway and walkway into 3 infiltration beds. In addition, erosion and sedimentation controls will be implemented during construction. The closest part of the new house was to be approximately 112 feet from the stream on an undeveloped lot. Regulations require improvements to the riverfront area when developing in the riverfront. The applicant enhanced the area and restored the rear portion of the site that was degraded and had been used for commercial parking by adding 14 native trees and either 42 or 39 native shrubs. This is a new development project. Degraded impervious riverfront area after construction will be less than 10% of the RFA in the lot. The lot was in existence prior to August 97, and the Commission finds that with the required restoration, the project meets the performance standards. Because of the electrical power line, there is no feasible alternative. And then the rest of this permit is standard, except that we are proposing a cash performance guarantee in the amount of $3,500. Where did my other thing go? Then over to the order of conditions, hopefully, which lists the same reference plans And many of these are standard, and Joe has at least seen some of these before. This order permits work within the 200-foot riverfront area. No work within any wetland resource area has been permitted by this decision. Under pre-construction conditions, this describes that they have to put up their erosion controls, their DEP sign, and get everything ready, including a possible dewatering plan. Before we come out to inspect, the erosion control shall be included but not limited to 12-inch silt sock or mulch sock and sediment filter fabric fence around the limit of work, although straw wattle may be used on the mountain road frontage. Materials shouldn't be stockpiled within 40 feet of a stream or at a location that would allow materials to run into the streets. If dewatering is to occur, please give us a plan that we can approve it. And we have the right to require additional erosion controls. No additional grading beyond what's shown on the approved plan shall be permitted without coming back to us first. The pollution control conditions are all completely standard. Stormwater management, as I said, the rooftop and driveway runoff shall be infiltrated into 3 infiltration beds as were shown on the plan. Approximately under riverfront restoration area, approximately 36 trees were taken down before the permitting process. And in recompense, they're going to be planting 14 native trees and 42 or possibly 39 native shrubs within the riverfront area. Within the Eversource easement, only low-growing shrubs shall be planted. These shall be monitored for 2 full growing seasons, and those that fail to survive within the time shall be replaced. And these planted areas shall not be returned to impervious surface. A row of boulders shall be placed along the rear property lines to protect the restoration area from activities in the adjacent industrially used land, and this condition shall be noted in the COC as existing in perpetuity. And the rest describes how the certificate of occupancy won't be provided until it's largely stabilized and the plantings are in, and then it ends with how you go about getting your certificate of compliance. I sent you guys a copy of these earlier.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to? I was very late in the day.
Yeah, no, I didn't review them, I was up at the ball field up there.
All right, so anybody on the commission have any changes to the findings and/or the permit, proposed permit? Anybody? All right, I have one question under erosion control. There are a few steep slopes in the back there.
Yep.
Is anything like an interim erosion control or something needed to prevent anything there? Are you satisfied or wait?
I think that, I mean, I like a good big, a 12-inch silt sock is really pretty sturdy, and if they put that and the filter fabric fence, I think that will be sufficient. We will be keeping an eye on it, though.
Right, so we can rely on checks every so
Yes.
often to require more.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. All right, is there anything else from the commission? All right, could I have a motion to adopt the findings under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14, for DEP file number 122-67-687?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Findings are approved, 5-0 unanimously. Can I have a motion to approve the order of conditions under both Burlington Bylaw, Article 14, and the State Wetlands Protection Act for DEP file number 122-687?
So moved.
Second?
Second, Rob?
Okay, all in favor? 5-0, same vote unanimously. Okay, could I have a motion to put on the table a request for $3,500 performance surety under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for DEP file number 122-687?
So moved.
Second.
Second, Ken.
Does the commission need any further discussion on the amount of the requested surety? All in favor? 5-0 unanimously. Okay, so, believe it or not, I think you folks reached the finish line.
It's good to hear. We were educated at the same time.
It was certainly a bit of an effort to get there, but we did, so that's what's important.
It's okay, this shouldn't happen again, because now we're much more educated. you ever get to a situation like this.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we do appreciate your cooperation with this because it was a step-by-step process, as you know.
It's okay.
So,
Can I keep the top one?
You can.
Or whatever it is you have to.
Yeah, the bottom one's on the older.
Thank you.
They're both the same. One of two, sheet 2 of 2, so we'll take them both.
Oh, okay.
okay, so, I think you're all set. Three spots, got it.
4 spots.
Okay, so, I think you're all set, good luck with your project.
All right, appreciate it,
And
and
you'll get that marked up drawing to,
it's all marked up. It's in our hands.
okay,
It's in our hands.
good luck.
All right, thank you, and have a good evening.
All right, take care, have a good evening, folks. So, on the agenda, we are, I probably should have noted, but I knew no one was here for this, the continued public hearing, notice of intent, 1, 2, and 10 Wall Street, which is for landscaping activities by the Gutierrez Company. The DEP number is still pending, and so they have continued. Could I ask for continuance? Could I have a motion to continue the public hearing, notice of intent for 1, 2, and 10 Wall Street for the Gutierrez Company landscaping activities to the meeting of June 22nd?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 500. The hearing for the Gutierrez Company is continued to June 22nd. Next on the agenda, we have a public hearing with a few bylaw changes to our Burlington Wetlands Bylaw, Article 14, Section 1. Okay, and the purpose of this is to include climate resiliency language. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing, during which time we will be discussing and taking public comment on proposed updates to the Burlington Wetland Bylaw, which is Article 14, Section 1 of Burlington General Bylaws. A draft of the bylaw update is available on a web link on the Conservation Commission's webpage. All right, so what we have is, there's been a subcommittee meeting. We call it the Climate Resiliency Subcommittee. And that subcommittee has been looking at the language in our bylaw that could be changed to incorporate the authority to deal with climate change on proposed projects that are proposed under Burlington Bylaw Article 14. What I'd like to do, I think I would like to go to either John or Eileen and ask you to summarize what we've come up with.
Oh, that's a you.
Okay, so this, I think is, I can't remember who came up with the idea originally. It was sort of I think, organic among the commission to try to do this. Some other area communities have done this, and was it the Nashua River Watershed Association, I think, came out with some guidelines that we sort of looked at and incorporated. But the idea is to change the bylaw with some minor tweaks to permit the commission to look at climate change impacts from proposed projects. And the way to do that primarily is to update the wetland regulations. But before you can update wetland regulations, you've got to change the bylaw to incorporate climate change concerns and interests as being part of that wetland bylaw. So as you can see, the changes are fairly minimal. But the whole idea is to give the commission the authority to then start digging into the regulations and getting into the real meat and potatoes of climate change impacts, whether from tree cutting or impervious area or whatnot.
All right. So on here is a list of what we call resource area interests. And it includes that the interests of the State Wetlands Protection Act and our Burlington bylaw include public and private water supply, include groundwater supply, flood control, erosion and sedimentation control, storm damage prevention, including water quality, prevention and control of pollution, fisheries, protection of fisheries, protection of wildlife habitat, protection of rare species habitat, and protection of recreation and educational values of our resource areas. So there are 4 additional changes that we are proposing under this hearing. And what I'd like to do is go through each one of them and ask for people to comment on what it means to you, so people have an idea of what could be the end result in the regulations, typically. So the first one is carbon greenhouse gas storage and sequestration. In other words, greenhouse gas mitigation and so forth. Would anyone like to talk a little bit about what that means to them?
Sure. To me, that's tree cutting. The major factor there in carbon sequestration is in the substance of trees. And when you cut it down and remove that, carbon gets released back into the atmosphere. So that to me is the primary greenhouse gas storage and sequestration types of controls that we'd be looking for, or changes to regulations would be something to protect trees.
Right. Okay. And of course, anything that's proposed under our regulations would be subject to a public comment period. And we would be running that through a number of meetings so we can solicit comments. Indra?
If I may.
Please do.
Comment. So if there are trees, the trees absorb the carbon dioxide, correct? So that's why we do not get the carbon dioxide in the air. The tree absorbs it.
Correct.
Right.
It stores that carbon in its body.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's what,
Right.
carbon storage means.
Exactly.
Right. You're talking about respiration from live trees.
So Larry, in addition on that one, it's not just live trees. So fallen wood is also storing carbon. And fallen wood, if it starts degrading into a wetland and becomes part of the peat or soil, you can also get a lot of carbon storage in the soil as well. So we may try to promote leaving woody debris in buffer zones and in wetlands rather than, if you give permission to somebody to cut a tree, you may tell them, okay, but that tree needs to be put down on the ground and left there because that's storing carbon as well.
So burning it releases all that carbon immediately,
Yeah.
right, back into the air.
Yeah.
And the soil and the wetlands themselves are also massive stores of carbon. They're carbon sinks.
Yes.
Okay, so the next interest that is proposed for addition to the list of interests protected by Burlington Bylaw Article 14 is the prevention of heat islands. Would someone like to comment on that? I know we've had a funded study that we just completed on studying heat islands and what can be done. Would someone like to tell us the kinds of things that could be done to prevent heat islands and what heat islands are?
Yeah, so we had an MVP grant focused primarily on the area in the Vine Brook watershed, but it's certainly transferable to all over town. And the 2 primary ways to reduce heat islands are to reduce impervious surfaces, particularly black impervious surfaces like roads, and to increase shade via tree canopy. There are certainly others, solar canopies, anything that's basically, keeping the sun off the pavement. And if you can convert it into solar energy, all the better. But, so those are the 2 biggies, though. Increasing the canopy that not only the canopy is good, but particularly if it's shading paved areas, it's even better. And reducing pavement.
Yes.
Which is the same thing. The pavement absorbs the heat,
Yeah.
so,
Rooftops are also a potential source of heat island effect, and putting in a green roof rather than a black rubber roof or something is another way to diminish some of that impact of heat.
Even
Even
making them
white
white
roofs are
or
better, yeah.
blue.
They have white roofs now, yes,
Right,
exactly.
Blue
We don't
roofs
have white roads
water.
yet, but we still got, I read some research on that they might be looking at whiter roads, lighter colored pavement material. But it could be, you know, because there's acres and acres and acres. There's a project now for the 128 Middlesex Turnpike renovation that they're talking about to try to eliminate some of that black heat island in places like the mall parking lot, which is acres and acres of, I call it the asphalt desert. It's just paved and there's nothing there to alleviate that. And that affects, that heat gets radiated into the atmosphere. But also, I mean, abutting that parking lot is a stream that goes by. And in the middle of August, when that parking lot is at 140 degrees and it rains out, you get hot water running into the stream when the stream's desperately trying to stay cool. So, you know, there are effects of heat islands that we can ameliorate by reducing that. And some ways to reduce it are to put in a structured parking and more green space rather than all flat level parking, for example. And that's some of the things the town is starting to look at. I know John and I have participated in that project, and Larry's been there at one of the meetings as well, to try to make sure that they implement as much heat island protection and the other things that are in here, you know, overall, into that planning for that saying is a 50-year plan for that part of the town.
And when we're talking about the Mall Road corridor study is being done by the Economic Development, they have talked about longitudinal paths through the whole mall business area that people could walk under. And the comment was made by more than one person, me being one of them at that workshop that Melissa Titakalis organized, that heat islands are a problem. And people are gonna be seeking somewhat of a relief and shelter from the heat being emitted off of the pavement during the greater than 90-degree days, and having a shaded pathway to go walk on would be very appealing to people under those circumstances, that kind of weather condition. Anyone else want to talk at all about it? Heat islands? Okay, the next interest that we are proposing to add to the wetland bylaw is the protection of biodiversity. Okay, would someone like to talk about that at all?
Native species is an important thing to try to protect whenever possible, rather than putting in all kinds of non-native species or invasives, try to control invasives, things that limit and choke out some of the biodiversity that exists. Just plain reduction of forested land reduces biodiversity, so certain areas like that are places that we could try to codify in our regulations to protect biodiversity.
We could also try to be stricter in our regulations about the use of herbicides and pesticides, which are wiping out pollinators.
I have seen a couple of signs now that I really like. You know, every place you drive, you see a little sign that says mosquito squad, protected by mosquito squad.
Right.
Now there's little signs just like it that say mosquito spraying kills insects and kills bees, and then parentheses, and then it lists like 10 other insects, you know. And I want to go around and put one of those next to every mosquito squad sign that I see. But it's good to see some people putting out signs like that that say, wait a minute, you know, think about what you're doing. You're not just killing that one specific insect that you don't like. Anything that walks or flies through your yard is going to get hit with that poison.
All right, next is mitigation of impacts from climate change. Okay, so any comment on that one?
I'm not sure what that would mean, other than the three things we already discussed. We're not in a...
Well, I mean, impacts from climate change could include increased flooding, so trying to figure out how to mitigate increased flooding is a biggie.
Well, and also plantings that can deal with the extreme temperatures that we're now experiencing is one of the things that we will be
Okay.
probably have more specificity as time goes on, and that would be in the regulations,
Yeah.
if we can come up with some language that sounds reasonable. Okay?
Possibly things that, for wetlands, possibly things that could affect the groundwater level with increased heat. There could be like increased concentration of contaminants in water supplies and water areas.
So in total, we have a sentence here that says that the foregoing interests are for the purposes of climate adaptation and providing resiliency interests. Okay, and that is, and then we also have a little bit of language that says the buffer zone is integral to the protection of the wetland resource area. So some of what we may specify under our regulations may involve some restriction on what can and cannot be done, such as how much vegetation can be removed, say like the back so many feet, for example. We do have something like that in our stormwater bylaw, where when there is a full, or I believe our abbreviated permit, or at least the full permit, that we do restrict the cutting of trees in the back 15 feet of the lot unless a waiver is granted and there's a very good reason given why the project can't proceed without it. But other than that, in other areas involving things that are within our jurisdiction for Burlington bylaw Article 14, we have no such language.
Well, you have a 20-foot no disturb.
Well, we do have the 20-foot no disturb, but we don't have too much language regarding trees. Okay, so that's all that's proposed.
No, there's one other thing, and that's just the technicality, and that's changing every place that it refers to the select board. I'm sorry, refers to the selectmen, we changed that to the select board, the term selectmen has been changed to the select board.
Yeah.
So I put in that every place it said selectmen be replaced with
Actually
select board.
See it.
Okay, would anybody like to talk any further about the importance of making these changes to the bylaw?
No, and this is just the bylaw, it just gives us the basic justification to then look at the regulations, as you pointed out. And we'll be doing that, as you also stated, with more than one, many probably, open forums or open hearings, open meetings on, for public comment. We'd like to get as much public comment as possible, like we did with the stormwater regulations, and do the same for this
So
regulations.
would you like to keep the hearing open for a while?
I think so, yes.
Well, in that case, can I just point something out that we can think about? One of us had made a note some months ago about things to be changed in the future, and one of them was removing the requirement for certified mail. So, is that okay if we take that out?
For what application?
For sending in an application like an RDA or whatever, or let me see, hang on. Any person filing any application permit other than an RDA shall give written notice by certified mail, return receipt requested or hand delivered to all abutters.
So there's an alternative to a certified mail called certificate of mailing, I think.
Is that what it's called?
Some,
like a-
what is it? It's a cheaper alternative to certified mail.
It's certified, and then there's,
Registered mail?
Some other word that isn't certified.
risk is even higher.
Yeah. But there is another mechanism to
Yeah.
still prove that you notified your abutters.
Yeah, and actually, the Wetland Protection Act regulations were changed to allow that.
Okay.
Why don't we just paraphrase that? and
Use the
look at it
same
at
one.
Next hearing.
I'll just make a note to do that then, okay? And we can just say yea or nay the next time.
Right.
Now, what is the mechanism, just to put on the record, for actually making these changes? This would have to go through town meeting.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, which is a process. You have to go to bylaw review committee, select board, and then to town meeting.
All right, so do we need a motion to continue it to the next meeting?
Yes.
All right, so I would like to have a motion to continue the public hearing on proposed changes to the Burlington Wetland Bylaw, Article 14, Section 1, to incorporate climate resiliency. Hold the meeting open until the next meeting of June 22nd, 2003.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? 500. Okay. Next is, do we have comments for the planning board at all?
No.
I think we do.
Subcommittee and staff reports and updates.
Nothing additional?
Other business. Nothing. Upcoming meetings of June 22nd and July 13th. Please note, we will have one meeting in July and one meeting in August. So the meeting in July is now scheduled for July 13th. If there's nothing further, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
There's a bit of a delay there.
Hesitation on adjourning the meeting.
Rob's relatively new, he just loves being here. All those in favor?
Aye.
500. This meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission is now adjourned.